Hello dear students, I welcome you for this second semester practical. In today's practical, we are going to deal with the first practical of animal systematics and diversity. The aim of today's practical is museum study of class Reptilia, in which we are going to study two examples each of venomous and non-venomous snakes. So, before going into today's topic of discussion, we should understand the difference between venomous and non-venomous snakes. So venomous snakes are those snakes which have venom apparatus present in them and they are able to produce the venom. On the other hand, we have non-venomous snakes which do not have venom apparatus, so they are unable to produce the venom. So let's get introduced with today's topic. If you see, in India there are around 280 species of snakes which are found, and out of them 60 species are considered to be highly venomous. Normally we call snakes as poisonous or non-poisonous, but ideally we should call them as venomous and non-venomous, because the poison which is derived from the animal origin is called as venomous. It's called as venom, so these snakes should be called as venomous or non-venomous snakes. In India, we have the four important venomous snakes. These include cobra, krait, Russell's viper and saw-scaled viper. So these four important venomous snakes are called as Big Four of India. Now we are going to study representative of these venomous and non-venomous snakes, in which we are going to study two examples of each. The venomous snakes which we are going to study are cobra and Russell's viper, and the non-venomous snakes include rat snake, which is also called as dhamin, and grass snake or green killback. So let's study the first venomous snake of the India, that is common Indian cobra, which is also called as spectacle cobra. The scientific name is Naja naja. The Indian cobra, which is called as Naja naja, is also called by another names like spectacle cobra, Asian cobra or bicellate cobra. Why bicellate cobra? Because if you see, the cobras, they have a hood, and on which they have the presence of a spectacled mark. So due to this, they are called as a spectacled or bicellate cobra. Now if we see the distribution of this snake, it is found in India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal and Bhutan. So they are found in abundance in the Indian subcontinent. Now the generic name and the specific name is same, that is Naja, which is a Latinization of the Sanskrit word Naga, meaning cobra. Okay, so this scientific name is derived from a Sanskrit name. Indian cobra is highly venomous snake, and it is one of the four big important species of the snakes which are responsible for maximum snake bites and deaths in India. Okay, so that's why we are studying cobra as one of the example of venomous snakes. Now these cobras, they are quite large snakes, so they can grow up to 6 feet, that is 2 meters in length. In this picture you can see a typical spectacle cobra. When they are provoked, they can make this hood. So this hood is nothing but it is like a extension of the ventral scales. So you can find the body being divided into head and body and followed by the tail. In this picture you can see a picture of a real cobra. Now let us see some body characteristics of the Indian cobra. Now these Indian cobra, they vary tremendously in their color and pattern. So you can have a lot of variation in their color. Some may be light brown to brown in color, some may be yellowish to black in color. So color may vary from light brown to dark brown, and black depending upon its habitat. Also, the color is dependent on the food which it is taking. Yes, so these snakes, they are found in the most varied terrains of the India. You can find them onto the grasslands, into the deserts, as well as onto the mountains. But ideally they prefer the forest areas and dense forest, because the rats are found in abundance. Also, you can find them near the human habitat, because rats are found in the human habitats, and that is the most preferable food of the snake. Now, this cobra is it has a very distinctive character, that it can make a hood. That hood is also called as a vernum. Now, this hooding is nothing but when it spreads its neck ribs, forming a flattened section of the body near the head. This is called as a hood, and this creates a stunning threatening to its predator. Also, the cobras are known to produce a distinctive hiss sound, which they make to warn their predator, or in the sense of any danger. These cobras, they belonging to the family Elapidae, and these snakes, they cannot hold their fangs down on prey, so they inject their venom through their fangs. Now let us see some more characteristics. Cobras, they reproduce by laying eggs. Okay, so they lay the eggs. Normally the female lay around 20 to 40 eggs at a time, and the incubation period is 60 to 80 days. Cobras have a very potent neurotoxic venom. What is neurotoxic venom? This venom acts on the nervous system of its prey. Okay, if the cobra bites a person, the different symptoms start. These include problem in vision, difficulty in swallowing and speaking. There is a weakness in the skeletal muscles, difficulty in breathing, respiratory failure, vomiting, abdominal pain. Sometimes necrosis and anticoagulation can also be seen as a result of this neurotoxic venom of cobra. So, most of the time the cobra bites can be very fatal if the treatment is not given to the patient. Fortunately, the anti-venom, that is also called as anti-venin, is available in most of the government hospitals, and if it is given to the victim along with an artificial respirator, the person can be saved. If you see the protection of these species, it has given the status, or it is categorized into the Schedule 2 Part 2 as per the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972, amended by the Government of India. Now, what is the importance of these cobras in ecosystem? They basically control the rat population in agricultural field, and we know that rats is one of the major predator of many agricultural crops. Therefore, maintaining the rat population is very important, and that is done by the cobras. So this is all about the first snake. Now we move on to the second venomous snakes, that is Russell's viper. In Marathi, this snake is also called by the name that is Gonus. The scientific name of this snake is Taboia russelli. So this is a venomous snake of the family Viperidae, and it is native of the Indian subcontinent. That means it is found all throughout the Indian subcontinent. It was described in the year 1797 by Patrick Russell, a Scottish herpetologist. That's why the name Russell's viper has been given to this species. It is found in almost all parts of the India, except certain parts of the western deserts and where the freezing temperature of the Himalayas, it is absent. It can grow very large in size, say from 4 feet to around 6 feet, and it is found in the entire Asian continent. The island population may be slightly smaller than the mainland population. Okay, in this picture you can see a typical Russell's viper. It is basically a viper snake belonging to the Viperidae family, and you can make out this snake by these distinctive marks on the body. However, this is not present in all snakes, because sometimes it is all, this pattern can be faint as well. So these snakes, if you see the habitat of this snake, they are found in the shrubby areas, in the grasslands, and they are very much common near to the villages where the paddy and wheat fields are present. Now, as we have seen earlier, this is the one of the big four snake of the India. And why it is included in big four? Because it is responsible for maximum deaths as well as deaths which are caused by venomous snakes in India. If you see the color, it is light brown body with black or dark brown rings extending throughout the body are seen. If you see, as like a typical viper, the head is triangular. This is a very peculiar mark. The head is triangular in shape, and in between the eye and nostril there is a presence of another pit that is called as a pit of the pit viper. This pit is a thermosensory structure present in these vipers, so they can sense the fluctuation in the temperature with the help of this pit. Now, if you see the venom of the vipers is basically hemotoxic in nature. That means it affects the circulatory system of the organism. However, it also have the component which can also act as a neurotoxic, so that is very potent to when it is biting any person. Once the snake has bitten, it can deliver very large quantity of the venom, that is around 112 milligram of venom can be injected by this snake. After the bite of the Russell's viper, the person may feel pain and the death can occur in very short time, as less as 2.5, that means 2.5 hours. Now, many symptoms can be seen when a person is bitten by a Russell's viper. These include tenderness and swelling in the bite area, blistering, that is itching kind of sensation, then bleeding, and it can, if the venom spreads very quickly in the body, it can result into kidney failure as well. The severity of the symptom depend on the age and size of the victim. So suppose Russell's viper has bitten a kid or a children, then the death can occur very fast. If it has bitten a larger human being like an adult person, the severity of symptom can be depend on the age. Also, it also depends upon how much quantity of venom is injected by the snake. Okay, so how much venom? If little quantity of venom is injected, obviously there is a good chance that person may survive. If very large quantity of venom is injected, there is a chance of death of that person. Yes, this snake prefers to live near the human habitation, that means very close to the humans, so that it is very dangerous snake in the India. When this snake feels any danger, it coils the body and it makes a particular whistling kind of a sound. This sound can be compared to that of a whistle of your cooker. Okay, so that sound is quite loud, can be heard from a long distance. Now, if you see the protection status, As per the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972, this snake is also included in the Schedule 2 species and Part 2 of the schedule. So very high protection status is given to this species. Now, what is the importance of this Russell's viper or Gonus snake? It also controls the population of rats in the agricultural field. That's why it is also considered as a friend of the farmers. Okay, now we will study the non-venomous snakes. Non-venomous snakes are those snakes which cannot produce venom, right? So in this, the first venom that we are going to study is called as rat snake. In Marathi we call it as dhamin. The scientific name of this snake is Tayus mucosa. So this rat snake is a member of Colubridae snakes or a family Colubridae. It is commonly seen around the agricultural fields. It is a very fast snake. If you compare with other snake, it is a very fast crawling snake, and they can grow very large in size. They can grow from 8 to 12 feet also. Okay, so they can grow from 4 to 12 feet in size. They can be seen in different parts of the Asian subcontinent. Yes, very importantly, they are non-venomous. Rat snakes are non-venomous. So even if they bite you, it does not inject any venom because they cannot produce the venom. Rat snakes usually hunt and kill mice by biting with their teeth and suffocate them by constricting it along with its body. Okay, so they will cover the prey with the help of their body. So in this picture you can see, by their body they can constrict their prey, that may be mice or a frog, and they can feed onto it. But they mostly prefer to feed onto the rats. That's why it is commonly called as rat snake. Now if you see some more characteristic, rat snakes are diurnal. That means they are active in the day as well as in the night. They are semi-arboreal. That means you can find them onto the ground as well as onto the trees as well. They inhabit forest floors. You will find them in the forest, wetlands, that is near the water bodies, rice fields, farmlands, or any even semi-urban areas as well. So this snake is also seen near the human habitation areas, near the villages or any areas where humans are living. Their food preference we have seen, they basically like to feed onto the rats. Also sometimes they can also feed upon other small reptiles like lizards, amphibians, birds, and even small mammals like rats. Their color varies from the pale brown in dry regions to nearly black in most forest areas. Mostly they can also be seen in the color of yellowish tinge. So this color of the body depends on the habitat as well as the food. Rat snakes basically eats variety of the prey, as we have seen, and they are frequently found near the urban areas. Why? Because in the urban areas where humans live, you find many rats or the rodents. The mating season of the rat snake begins from winter, and it can even extend up to the start of monsoon season. So this can be seen in the form of breeding male combats near the water bodies, where you can see two males, that is two male rat snakes, they are fighting with each other. Now this is the fight for the territory, that means the area where they are living. So the winner of this fight will stay in that area and the other snake will go into some another area. So you must have seen this as two rat snakes, they will intertwine with each other Sometimes it is also called as a mating dance between male and female, but this is not so. This is a false interpretation. This is actually the it takes place between two males for the territory. Now, once the mating between male and female takes place, the female lays around 35 eggs in a dark areas, usually caves, larger mounds between rocks and wood piles where it has a protective environment. Egg guarding and incubation is done by the female till the hatching of the eggs. The period of incubation, that is hatching period, takes place around 60 to 80 days depending upon the temperature and other weather conditions. If we see the protection status as per the Wildlife Protection Act, it is also included in the Schedule 2 Part 2. What is the importance? Yes, rat snake also controls the population of rats in agricultural fields. That's why it is also called as a friend of the farmers. Now we come to the second non-venomous snake, that is grass snake. Scientific name is Rhabdophis plumbicolor. In Marathi, this snake is called as Gautya. So this is commonly found, or this is commonly called as green keelback, because the scales, first of all, it is green in color, and the scales, which are the outer exoskeleton of the snake, has lines on its scales. That's why it is called as green keelback. It is one of the member of snake family, that is Colubridae. Now this species of the snake, that is Rhabdophis plumbicolor, is endemic to the parts of Asia. That means it is found, endemic means found only in this part, that is parts of the Asia. So in Asia you can found it, or rather in India you can found it in the eastern parts. Also it is found in the Gangetic plains, desert, north, east regions, parts of Odisha. So it can be found to have a large distribution in the India. In this picture you can see a adult green keelback or a grass snake, and this picture you can see a juvenile or a baby green keelback. You can see a lot of differences. In juvenile condition you can see a yellowish mark on the neck region. Also the head looks quite dark black in color. Even the body has black markings all throughout. These marks, they disappear once it becomes adult. Now let us see some more characteristics. So you can identify the snake by the yellowish green body mark onto the juvenile. If you see, it is a stout viper like body is present. They can grow up to 2 feet in length, so they do not grow very large in size, but up to 2 feet in size. The eyes are moderately large. As I shown you in the previous picture, the juveniles have the yellow patch. Also it is a V-shaped mark onto the nape or the neck region, and it is absent in the adult snakes. Yes, it is a non-venomous snake. So we are studying it as a non-venomous snake species. They are very gentle in their nature. So even if you handle them with hand, they do not bite you like the other snakes, that is cobra, Russell's viper or rat snake. They bite you. It is a nocturnal animal. They are active mostly in the night, and they can be found in the terrestrial habitat. It is a very slow moving snake, and locomotion is very less or moderate. Now if we see the feeding habits, it feeds onto the toads and frogs, and it hardly accepts other prey, but at few times it can feed onto the other small snakes also. It is a oviparous type of a snake. That means it gives rise to the eggs. If you see the protection status, as per the Wildlife Protection Act, it is protected in the Schedule 4 of the protection. Now, what is the importance? These species feed onto the frogs and toads, so it keeps the population of the frogs and toad in control. So that is very important for the farmers. And finally, it is an excellent controller of these animals, so that it is a very important for the vegetation of the highlands. So with this we conclude today's lecture. In today's practical we have studied two venomous snakes, that is cobra and Russell's viper, and we have studied two non-venomous snakes, that is rat snake and green keelback, which is also known as grass snake. So with this we conclude today's lecture. Thank you.